Scalpel. Thank you. Hope I get this right. I haven't slept in days. Oh no! Oh no!
I heard you can throw the football really well, Commish.
I could throw the football just as well as I like my rubs. Watch this. What? Objection, Your Honor. He's badgering the witness.
Sustained.
All right, so just finish off this next line of billion lines of code, and I'll have those guys betting all their money. There's no way they're gonna win at fantasy anymore. All this, betting. Anyways, I'm gonna call my bro. I gotta see what's happening. Hello. Hey, bro, what's poppin'? Dak still making you wet dream? Baby. It's all good, bro. Oh, I got mustard on my favorite shirt. You know what, bro? I don't even know who to set up all this week in my lineup. Well, if you go this linebacker from Washington, they're paying a run-first offense, so that linebacker is guaranteed to get a bunch of volume, and that's how you will win this one. You the best, man. How the hell do you know all this? You see any women around, bro? Good point, my brother. Good point. You know what? Thanks for all you did for this. There's no way I could ever win without you. I know this. Hey everyone, guess is back. It's the Commish back here with another draft preview, and it's with a bit of sadness that we're going to be doing the last preview here in the tiered format anyways for Adrian and the Age Crew. For whatever reason, those idiots from last year chose to communicate through you, which is kind of interesting, but I just want to say, Adrian, you've always had my back. And you are going to be truly missed in the tiered format here. I'm glad to hear that you're staying on Dynasty. And as I've already mentioned, if you ever do want to rejoin the league, you are definitely welcome back. You would just have to obviously start in tier 3, and there's no way around that. As soon as you announce your retirement, that's the way she goes. And anyways, hopefully we'll see you back one day. I'm going to share my screen with you. And we'll just get into your preview here. All right, here we are, Adrian and the Age Crew. Again, a bit of sadness here, bud, to see you unfortunately make your announcement that you can't continue on. Good luck with the new job, I think it was. And, obviously, I get it. Life comes before fantasy football, at least for most, unless you're a self-proclaimed fantasy football guru. Then you obviously make a ton of money each year, as you saw in the intro. All right, so let's just get into your keeper. So, what's interesting is obviously, and we'll get into the storylines, but I felt like you were finally just getting this team turned around, and you made the trade here to get Saquon Barkley. And looking at your keepers, I think you had to. I don't know. Obviously, you did a little bit of selling last year, and we'll get into that in your picks. But Saquon was the fantasy player last year of the year, right? But let's not forget CMAC was the fantasy player of the year 2 years ago, and we saw what CMAC did last year. So let's hope we don't get a repeat performance with Saquon for you. You did, I think, give Stewart a fair amount of draft capital to make the trade happen. And obviously, for a running back, you got to make that trade, or it's going to cost you a lot, right? That's just the way it goes in this format. So it's, again, it sounds like you were kind of just getting on the ground going. And that's why it makes it too bad because obviously another owner is going to be taking over your team here. But, we'll focus on this year. You got Saquon, Brian Robinson in a contract year. So whether or not Washington's going to keep him or not, I think they're going to run the rails off him. And either A, he gets hurt, or B, he's going to earn a contract. And he's either going to earn that contract with Washington or another team. So I actually expect Brian Robinson to ball out a little bit this year. I hope he does because I have him in Dynasty. So I'll be rooting for him as well in that league. But yeah, I think Brian Robinson is the main guy there. I know I've heard about this seventh rounder they drafted, Krosky or whatever his name is. He's not going to be relevant. It's going to be Brian Robinson's team and on an ascending team. So good news for you. Where things get weak, and your keepers definitely need to improve compared to some of the other teams we've seen. But your three wide receivers you're keeping here, I think, carry a fair amount of risk. Jalen Waddle down year last year, the injuries seem to keep coming at him. And that's a problem, right? And, they still have Tyreek there, even though I think Tyreek's going to be AB 2.0. It does, he's still going to take some targets away from Waddle until he retires or gets arrested, and Waddle becomes a WR1. So obviously, there's risk there. Ricky Parasol, another guy, highly touted rookie last year, the injury problems, the gunshots, you know, fantasy experts or websites are saying this guy could be a breakout guy. I read reports that the team wasn't all that impressed with him last year, and part of it is his practice habits. And so I'm not, you know what? I think the book's out on this guy. I don't know I mean, clearly they got to give this guy a shot. So I understand why you're keeping him. Again, when I look at the rest of your team, we'll talk about Christian Kirk as well. So obviously Christian Kirk, a guy that, again, last year I don't even think he was around. He was hurt. Now he's a Houston Texan, and I do believe that he is going to be the slot wide receiver there. Nico Collins and Higgins on the outside with Kirk as the slot receiver. So I do think that Christian Kirk is going to get some snaps. But I wonder if, you look at other options like, would you actually keep a guy like Will Shipley just in case Saquon gets hurt? I mean, is Christian Kirk going to put up big numbers? I'm not sure, right? Like it maybe puts up 3 a game. It looks like here week 1 he's projected to get 8, so I could be dead wrong. He could have a huge year, but Will Shipley would be a lot of risk, obviously, but at least he'd have the handcuff there. The only other guy that I think it could be potentially keeper worthy for you is Tua. So yeah, I mean, you could go double dip with Tua and Jalen Waddle. But that's really the only guys I could see you could put in there. You definitely have a weak team. And then Alex Anzalone at linebacker. Again, when I look at who you have available, I mean, CJ Mosley retired. J1 Bentley's not even on a team right now. So yeah, that's tough unless Jeremiah Trotter actually becomes a starter in Philly. I guess Anzalone probably is the best IDP keeper there. So you could look at maybe improving there, get an IDP keeper for cheap, or you go Anzalone. Looking at your pick scenario, yeah, so this is funny because I don't really consider you to be an overly active owner, but clearly you sold at some point, probably at the deadline last year, like most people do. And then you made the trade for Saquon. So you don't have a round 1 pick, but I don't think that's going to affect you as much considering the fact that you have those 2 extra picks, one in round 6, one in round 8. So it does give you 11 and 10 still, which I think does give you a bit of an advantage, but not having that first round pick's going to hurt. because who you're picking at pick 33, the talent falls off pretty quickly in this league. And you're looking at WR2s, if you're lucky, by the 33rd pick in the draft. So there's that. Looking at, so this is where, again, where things get interesting for you, though. Rounds 11 to 20, you got a slew of picks here. In fact, you got 15. So, in terms of depth or getting good IDPs, these are the rounds we're doing it in, right? So, from my perspective, this should hopefully give you a bit of a well-rounded roster. You definitely need to find a diamond in the rough with some of your picks, just based on the fact that I don't have a lot of confidence in your wide receiver keepers, to be perfectly honest with you. Some of those guys might do well. I think maybe one out of the three will, maybe two out of the three, right? And that would, I think, would be the best case scenario for you. But you're front loaded here with rounds 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. You're going to be busy in those rounds, and you're gonna be rounding out the roster, right? Because if you think about it, after round 15, you literally only have 7 picks left, because you hardly have any in 21 to 29. The picks that you do have in 21 to 29, I'm assuming, came from the Saquon trade. So yeah, I mean, after round 15, a guy could almost just say screw it and go on auto draft. I know you probably won't, but yeah, you'll have a long time in between picks. Wait until round 24. So out of the teams so far that have been previewed, you do have the best pick scenario. Out of all the teams that have been previewed so far, though, your keeper situation is pretty weak. I would say probably even weaker than the Mother Tucker, because the Mother Tucker does have Lamar Jackson, who can put up 60 a game. And what it means is you're not picking in the first round, right? So your likely first pick, you're picking 33rd, I think it was, first pick. I think because you have two running backs, three wide receivers, by then the running back pool will probably be fairly slim. You might get Will Shipley there, but I think you're going to go tight end or quarterback. You do need a quarterback in this league, so I do think your projected pick. And again, I'm just using the sleeper rankings where the 33rd guy was kind of in that neighborhood, and it's Jonnu Smith, who obviously just got traded. David Njoku, I think if you could get him at 33, that would be good value at tight end. Obviously, I'm a Browns fan. Or you go quarterback, and around that range, it's maybe Tua, maybe Bryce Young, right? So even if you don't pick Tua, he might very well be your first pick. So I guess the question is Tua and Christian Kirk going to be available at 33? Probably, right? So you just got to decide which one of those guys you're going to keep. But I do think that's likely the direction you'll go into. But who knows? You might just go best available. And then the storylines for you, Adrian, kind of touched on these already, but retirement year for you. Very sad to see you go. But I do respect the fact that you retired, or you made the announcement early. And I also love the fact that you're going to stay in Dynasty. So I do appreciate that. Obviously, Dynasty 5-round draft, not quite as much as a commitment. Especially even with waivers, is not nearly as busy as obviously tier one. And this is the hard part for me. I feel the rebuild was just beginning. If anyone else is watching this preview, Adrian actually came into this league and took over a team that didn't have a pick in the first 13 rounds, I believe it was, and still survived that year. And because of that, that's actually when the 5 and 10 rule came out, because what would prevent a team from just selling everything and then, oh, I quit because they didn't win, because they know their team's a dumpster fire the next year. The 5 and 10 has fixed that, right? And the fact that Adrian was able to survive that year, not having a pick till round 14, is just incredible. And Adrian, I just want to say thank you for everything that you have done in terms of just revealing the truth about some of the prior owners in this league. And, it's funny because those idiots are dumb enough to document, their own, their own, I guess you could say, scandals. So it's pretty funny to see, all the accusations against me and my brother over the years, and it just makes me, Susie, Brian, and I'm sure Krista laugh all about it. I do love the new ownership in this league, and that's why it is sad to see it go, because we did finally get rid of all the idiots. But I do want to just say I wish you the best of luck in the future. Your spot is always welcome back. So if you do decide to come back, I would have you come back in a heartbeat. You would just have to start in tier three and come back all the way. You were originally a tier three owner, so I know you know what it takes to get here. And again, heartfelt, just thank you for being in this league as long as you were, and excited to see what you could bring in future years, obviously in Dynasty, because I know you are a good owner. You were a great owner in Dynasty, and then you had stuff happen with the prior co there, and I got your point of view. Just throwing that out there. So, anyways, have a great year, Adrian, and best of luck in this final year for yourself.